Discovered. The incredible journey of a forgotten musician who swapped a meal for a masterpiece. Jack's fingers danced across the familiar strings of his guitar, but today, it remained silent in the corner of his modest apartment, a haunting reminder of dreams that had slipped through his fingers. At 30-something, he was no longer the confident star he once imagined he would become. Instead, he scrubbed tables and served coffee at the local diner, his once hopeful melodies drowned out by the hum of frying food and the laughter of regulars who cherished their routine. Yet, it was his father's guitar, a precious gift, that carried the legacy, a stubborn echo of his childhood lessons about hard work and the intoxicating beauty of music. On a rain-soaked evening, the diner buzzed with its usual warmth. Jack was wiping down tables when the door swung open, sending a gust of wind and a stranger into his world. He looked like a man from the glossy magazine covers, the kind Jack had always dreamed of impressing. A renowned music producer, no less. Jack's heart raced. This was it, the moment he longed for. But nerves started to twist like vines in his stomach. Had those years of responsibility stifled his boldness? Could he dare approach a man who might change everything? He summoned every ounce of courage and approached the producer, his throat dry but an idea sparking to life. "How about a home-cooked meal?" he proposed, in exchange for just a moment to perform. The producer raised an eyebrow, curiosity piqued. Jack felt a flicker of hope as uncertainty danced in the stranger's eyes. In the cramped diner kitchen, Jack stirred the sizzling dishes, each movement fueled by a mix of anticipation and self-doubt. The laughter of patrons rang through the air, but his mind drifted back to his father, a man who never stopped believing in him. Could a simple dinner truly bridge the past with his present? Jack's hands trembled at the thought of failure as he seasoned the food with love, memories wrapping around him like the sweet aroma of a pie baking in the oven. With the meal ready, Jack stepped forth, his pulse pounding in his ears. The diner's chatter faded as he gripped his guitar, ready to reclaim the space and the spotlight he thought he'd lost. But just as he began strumming the first chords, the producer's phone buzzed incessantly, slicing through the ambience like a knife. Jack's heart sank. Here he was, laying bare his soul, while the world outside threatened to pull the producer away. Yet, in a corner, he spotted his mother, her eyes shimmering with pride and worry. For her, he pushed through the mounting doubt. The song flowed, a mixture of hope and nostalgia, filling the diner. Every note was a promise to himself, to her, and to the music that had once ignited joy and possibility. As the last chord faded, Jack looked up, breathless. The producer's face was unreadable, casting a shadow of uncertainty that left Jack's heart in turmoil. "I'll think about it," the man said, retreating into the rainy night. Disappointment mixed with a flicker of hope, leaving Jack standing there, guitar in hand, caught between dreams and reality. Could this chance encounter pull him back to a life where music ruled, or would he remain tethered to the weight of responsibility? The unresolved question lingered in the air, as thick as the scent of lingering pie, a haunting promise of what was yet to come. Jack stood there, his fingers still resting on the strings of his guitar, a wave of uncertainty crashing over him. What did "I'll think about it" really mean? In the dim light of the diner, he watched as the producer vanished into the rain-soaked streets, dragging with him Jack's flickering hopes. The familiar clatter of dishes and soft conversations started to fill the space again, grounding him, but his heart raced as if it were still on that stage. His mother walked over, her smile half-formed and laced with concern. "That was beautiful, Jack," she whispered, placing a hand on his shoulder. "You gave it your all." He forced a smile, but felt it fade quickly. "Did you see his face, Mom?" "I don't think he saw what I wanted him to see. Sometimes, the most important things don't show up right away. You did something brave tonight." Her eyes sparkled, as if she could stir a flicker of clarity within him. Jack glanced at the scattered tables filled with patrons enjoying their meals, unaware of the battle unfolding inside him. Digging deeper, he remembered the nights spent playing in smoky bars, the undeniable thrill of sharing his music. But those days felt distant, like echoes of a better time. As the evening unfolded, he busied himself with the usual tasks. Each order filled was a reminder of the routine he had grown accustomed to, but tonight, it felt like a cage. He caught snippets of conversations, the laughter, the mundane chatter about the weather, but they felt like a foreign language, a reminder of what he craved. With every clink of silverware, a promise of something greater slipped away. Just as he turned to wipe down a table, the bell above the door jingled again. Another customer, but this one was different. A young woman, perhaps in her mid-20s, entered soaking from the rain, shaking off her umbrella. She took a moment to scan the room before dropping her gaze onto Jack. For an instant, he felt the stir of curiosity, and instinctively, his heart lifted. "Hi there," she said, her voice warm like sunlight breaking through clouds. "I heard a song just before I came and it was really something special." He blinked, surprised by her sincerity. "You heard me?" "Of course. You've got something special, you know? I'm Mia, by the way." She extended her hand, and Jack found himself smiling genuinely for the first time that evening. "Jack," he replied, shaking her hand. "I was just trying to impress someone who isn't too easy to impress." Mia raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "A producer? You need to follow up on that. Don't let this moment slip away." For the first time, Jack sensed a bit of the fire he thought he had lost. "What do you know about producers?" "I've auditioned for them myself," she said, leaning in closer. "They're tough, but they just need to see the real you. Music is more than just a performance, Jack. It's about connecting." Jack felt a spark of energy at her words. Maybe it was the connection he had been missing. What if they don't get the connection? Then you find another way to show them. Maybe it's not just about that one moment. "It can be about persistence," she said, her blue eyes filled with conviction. "You have to believe in your music." As they talked, time seemed to slip away. Jack's worries began to fade, replaced by excitement as Mia shared her own experiences. She told him about the rejection, the perseverance, and the sweet moments when everything seemed perfect, even if just for a heartbeat. Suddenly, the diner felt alive. The dull hum of routine faded. It transformed into a backdrop for something new, something hopeful. As the conversation flowed, Jack wondered if he could find a way out of that weight he had been carrying for too long. But before he could ask her for more advice, Mia glanced at her watch. "Oh no, I need to get going," she said, with a tinge of regret. "But I want you to send me your music, okay? Will you share those songs too?" He blurted out, not wanting this moment to end. "Absolutely. Just be ready to put yourself out there." With a warm smile, she slipped out into the rain, leaving Jack standing there. A rush of thoughts tumbling in his mind. Had he just stumbled upon an unexpected ally? Was this the side of the world he needed to explore? As he glanced at his guitar, the weight of possibilities seemed lighter. But with hope came a new question: how would he take the leap forward? The flicker of encouragement from Mia stirred something inside him, leaving his heart hungry for more. Would he find the courage to pursue the unexpected path she inspired in him, or let the comfort of his routine hold him back? The rain poured heavier outside, but inside the diner, a flame was igniting again, and Jack was ready to find out what lay beyond. Jack's heart raced as he stared at the door where Mia had just disappeared. Her words echoed in his mind: "You have to believe in your music." The challenge hung around him like a promise waiting to be fulfilled. He glanced at his guitar, the familiar instrument feeling suddenly more like a portal than a prop. His fingers itched to strum a few chords, to drown out the clatter of dishes and hushed conversations that filled the diner. But he knew that the moment of magic he had felt on stage was fading. The thrill of performing wasn't meant to be a one-off experience. He needed that feeling back, the energy that pulsed through the room when he played. It was time to reclaim it. "Jack, you okay?" his mother asked, breaking through his thoughts. She leaned against the counter, worry etched on her face. "Yeah, just thinking," he replied, forcing a smile. But really, he was wrestling with a spark that had been reignited, a quiet fire that whispered about the endless possibilities ahead. "Just waiting for a call, huh?" she said, glancing at his guitar. "You know, I've always believed in you. Just keep going." Her reassurance filled the space where doubt had crept in, reminding him of childhood dreams brightened by her unwavering support. He thought of the cherished nights spent practicing in their living room, the music wrapping them in an embrace thicker than any blanket. Those moments had shaped him, but what had he done lately to honor them? Jack squeezed the guitar, urgency surging within him. He felt a nudge from the universe with Mia's unexpected visit. It was time to move. But where to start? He needed a plan, a real plan, one that didn't just include performing at the local diner. An idea struck him. His hands trembled as he reached for his phone. He had stored deep within its memory recordings of his songs, uncooked gems waiting for someone to help him mold them into something brilliant. He tapped the screen and opened his music app. There they were, each song a piece of his soul, waiting to be heard. But with no tangible connections, who would listen? Jack remembered Mia's challenge, you find another way. He felt that urgency again. Maybe a local open mic? He knew about a spot downtown that showcased new talent every Thursday. He'd always brushed it aside, feeling too small for such things. But now he felt a wave of determination wash over him. Mom, he called out, excitement spilling from his voice. What do you think about me signing up for the open mic next week? Her face brightened, a wide smile breaking free. That's brilliant. You should absolutely go for it. Jack nodded, heart racing at the thought of owning the stage again. It wouldn't just be a small step, it would be a leap. He could meet new artists, network with those who shared the same passion. Maybe even those who could open more doors or share their own stories. But as the night ticked on and the diner emptied, an uneasy thought flickered in the back of his mind. If he put himself out there, he risked rejection all over again. What if he put in the effort only to fall flat? Just then, a small flicker of intuition nudged him gently. What if this was exactly the kind of risk he needed to take? With Mia's encouragement echoing in his heart, he resolved to face that fear head-on, no matter how daunting it seemed. The rain outside began to dwindle, softening, almost as if it had sensed his transformation. He took a deep breath and felt his resolve harden. Jack envisioned the open mic night, the crowd, the lights, the thrill of sharing his music again. A fire ignited within him, and he knew he would carry Mia's words with him. It was time to make his mark, to chase that uncertain, exhilarating dream. As he graded through the last tasks of the night, his mind was racing with anticipation. Tomorrow would be day one of a new journey. The dull routine cast off, Jack couldn't shake the thought. Would he rediscover the sense of belonging in music that he longed for, or would he find an entirely new path? That daring idea sparked excitement in his chest, but with it came an unyielding uncertainty. One thing was clear, whatever came next, it would require more than just hope. Would he have the courage to show the world not just who he was, but the real music that lived deep inside? Jack woke up the next morning with the sunlight filtering through his window. It was a new day, filled with possibilities and a hint of trepidation in the air. He swung his legs out of bed and planted his feet on the floor, the coolness grounding him before the whirlwind of emotion swept in. Music was his calling, and as he thought about the open mic night, adrenaline surged through him. He stretched, adrenaline morphing his nerves into excitement. He was ready not just to play but to truly express himself. With a little hop, he made his way to his guitar. After breakfast, Jack set up in the living room, sunlight streaming in like a spotlight, staging his own personal rehearsal. Each strum of his guitar felt more vibrant than the last, a reminder of the spark that had reignited within him. He lost track of time, engulfed in melodies that poured out of him, each note a declaration, a rebellion against self-doubt. But moments of clarity also brought clarity of fear. What if he got up there and his voice faltered? The thought raised a knot in his stomach. He could envision the pack of strangers in that crowded bar, faces turned towards him, waiting. For a fleeting moment, he considered backing out. Jack, this is your moment, he whispered to himself, shaking off uncertainty. His music had the power to connect people in ways that words alone couldn't. With that thought, a sense of calm washed over him. As the hours rolled by, he gradually honed his song selection, picking tunes that told stories of love, loss, joy, and hope. Each song whispered back to him bits of his life, all the moments that had shaped him into who he was today. With every chord, he began to see the faces of those who had inspired him, Mia, his mother, the friends who had encouraged him. He closed his eyes for a moment, letting the music fill the silence. By the time he was done, a song formed in his heart that made him chuckle. This one could swap a meal for a masterpiece, he remarked to himself, grinning at the thought of his own cleverness. Later in the day, he faced the mirror, nervousness creeping back as he looked at his reflection. "You can do this," he reassured himself, trying to resonate with the confidence he felt a few hours ago. But as he thought of the stage, a thought sparked an unexpected fear. What if he got so lost in a moment that he couldn't find his way back? He grabbed his phone, taking a deep breath. Unsurprisingly, the chatter of doubt whispered softly. Just before he was set to leave, he sent Mia a quick message, sharing his excitement about performing tonight. She responded almost instantly, encouraging him with an enthusiastic thumbs-up emoji and a reminder to just breathe. That small connection helped him find his footing again. "This is what it's all about," he murmured, clutching his guitar tightly. He could feel Mia's presence wrapped around him. Stepping outside, the world seemed brighter. He made his way through town, each block filled with the rhythm of anticipation. While small talk filled the air around him, Jack's mind spun with thoughts of sound checks, the flicker of stage lights, and the unmistakable hum of a crowd. As he approached the venue, a wave of exhilaration washed over him. The building loomed like a promise, illuminated with neon that beckoned in brightness. But as he stepped through the door, his heart pounded in his chest. Could he truly share his music? Would they see him for who he really was? As he signed up at the bar, he glanced at the lineup, a mix of familiar and new faces. Everyone appeared just as nervous as he felt. With every new artist taking the stage, Jack's anxiety twisted into inspiration. The night unfolded like a story, filled with highs and lows. Jack was up next. The host called his name, and with every step toward the mic, every ounce of fear mixed with the thrill of finally embracing his dream. And as he stood there, he felt the pulse of the crowd connecting with him, with his music. Was he about to step into the unknown, or was this the beginning of a journey where he would finally discover who he truly was on stage? Standing in front of the microphone, Jack's heart raced like a drummer warming up before the show. The lights dimmed, and a singular spotlight flickered to life, landing directly on him. A hush fell over the crowd, the kind of silence loaded with potential, every pair of eyes watching, waiting. It felt surreal, like stepping into a dream, that intoxicating blend of fear and freedom swirling around him. He took a deep breath, feeling the weight of his guitar against his chest. The familiar wooden body brought a sense of comfort amidst the whirlwind of emotions. His fingers danced nervously over the strings, searching for the melody locked within. He opened his mouth, unsure of what would pour out. Then suddenly he was there, right where he needed to be. The first strum cut through the tension, resonating in the shared space, vibrant and alive. The song began to unfold, and with it, so did Jack. Each note became a thread, weaving together his past and present, memories surfacing like bubbles in the soda of his soul. And there was Mia's encouragement echoing in his mind. "Just breathe," she said. The words relaxed his shoulders as he let the music take control. The lyrics flowed, each syllable a confession. He sang about heartache and happiness, how life twisted and turned and yet always felt like home when he had music. The rawness of his voice shook slightly, but there was power there too. Power in vulnerability. He opened his eyes midway, searching the crowd, wondering if any of them felt the way he did. Faces swayed gently, some moved closer, leaning in as if drawn into a spell. He caught a glimpse of a couple mouthing words, tapping their feet. His words resonated with them, just as they did with him. This was not just his music, it was a shared experience, a collective heartbeat. With every passing verse, Jack sank deeper into this newfound identity. The fears that had threatened to choke him earlier melted away. He was no longer just Jack, the uncertain kid backstage. He was an artist, a storyteller. The ache in his voice transformed into something beautiful, something that didn't just belong to him but to anyone who ever felt lost. As he strummed the last chord, an eruption of applause filled the room. The crowd surged with energy, expressions of surprise and joy dancing across their faces. Jack couldn't help but let out a laugh, a sound brimming with disbelief. It was the thunderous noise he had longed for, a validation he didn't know he needed. He stepped back from the mic, overwhelmed. A sense of belonging washed over him, and he realized that stepping into the unknown had brought him home. Jack caught sight of Mia in the back, her smile brighter than any spotlight. The joy in her eyes lit a spark in his chest. She was proud of him, and for the first time in a long while, he felt deserving. As the next performer took the stage and the crowd shifted their focus, a wave of exhilaration and vulnerability played through Jack. He was honored to have shared that moment, to have stepped out from the shadows. But just as that ideological wave began to settle, his phone buzzed in his pocket, a new message alert. He took a glance, curiosity clawing at him. "Hey, Jack. Can we talk? I have something important to tell you." His heart raced anew, an unsettling mix of excitement and apprehension. What could be so important? As the crowd's cheers echoed around him, a new wave of questions began to swell. What revelation awaited him? Would it change his new path? He could feel the anticipation prickling along his skin, each pulse quickening like a drum call. He stepped away from the bar, glancing back at the stage, the warmth of the crowd still buzzing in his veins. For now, he had taken one significant step towards discovering who he was. But the night was far from over, and so was his journey. What lay ahead could redefine everything he thought he knew about himself and the people around him. Jack stepped outside the bar, the air fresh against his flushed skin. The applause still echoed in his mind, a warm echo suffused with adrenaline and triumph. Yet, as he pulled out his phone again, the glow of the screen felt heavy in his palm, the message hinting at something deeper beneath the surface. He read it once more. "Hey, Jack. Can we talk? I have something important to tell you." The simplicity of the words was loaded with uncertainty. Who could it be? His heart eased briefly, remembering Mia's radiant expression from just moments ago, but it quickly tensed again. Was this a good thing, or was it something that could unravel all the joys he had just tasted? Turning the phone over in his hand, he weighed his options. He could go back amidst the thrill of the crowd, distract himself with music and laughter, but something inside demanded he confront this now. He tapped quickly on his contact list and felt a rush of hope. "Hey, Mia," he managed to say when she picked up. "Jack. Great job tonight." Her excitement lit up the line, but he could hear the hints of worry below. "Thanks. But listen, I just got a message from who?" She interrupted, a curious edge to her voice. It's from Emma. She wants to talk," he said, a knot forming in his stomach. There was a brief silence. "Oh, okay. What do you think she wants?" "I don't know, but it feels big," he replied, his mind racing back to high school, the laughter, the secrets, the heartbreaks. Emma had known his dreams, his fears, and a piece of him still ached for the innocence they shared. "You should talk to her, Jack. You've grown. You've changed," Mia said softly, grounding him. "And if this is about moving forward, you can do it." The warmth of her words ignited encouragement in him. "Right. I'll do it." Taking a breath, he sent a quick confirmation back to Emma, and then he set off down a quieter street, the heartbeat of the city surrounding him. Within moments, he arrived at a small cafe, its cozy atmosphere promising intimacy amid the bustling world. He stepped inside, scanning the room until he spotted her at a corner table. Emma was watching the door, her expression a mix of anticipation and worry, much like he felt. When their eyes met, a rush of memories flooded him, friendships, light-hearted jokes, and the moment when their paths had diverged. He could feel the conversation bubbling just beneath the surface. Jack approached, unsure of what to say. "Hey," he managed. The weight of the last few years felt heavy between them, but the smile on her face warmed the tension. "Hey, Jack. Thanks for meeting me," she said, her voice steady. She gestured to the chair across from her, and he sat down, doubt creeping in. I saw you perform tonight. You were amazing. Thanks. It felt different, he replied, the words clumsy in the air. Emma took a breath, her gaze dropping as if weighing a stone. That's what I wanted to talk about, she said. What happened while you were gone? It's important. Jack leaned in, bracing for impact. What had he missed? What revelation lay ahead that could challenge everything he thought he understood? Jack, there's something you need to know about your past. Something that could change your future. His heartbeat quickened, the sound of his pulse echoing in his ears as her words lingered. What could be so significant? With each second that passed, the air grew thicker, charged with ambiguity. Tell me, he urged, barely able to contain the anticipation. But Emma hesitated, searching his eyes, and in that silence, Jack sensed everything he had rebuilt was about to be shaken once more. What awaited him could shift his world entirely. And for the first time, doubt flickered alongside hope. Would he be ready for the truth? Emma took a moment longer, her fingers fidgeting with the edge of her coffee cup. Jack leaned forward, desperate for clarity. Her eyes looked distant, as if she were seeking the right words in a tangled web of memories. Jack, remember when we used to talk about our dreams? About what we wanted our lives to look like? She began, her voice a whisper now. Of course, he replied, a soft smile creeping onto his face. We were invincible back then. A flicker of sadness crossed Emma's face. Well, I've thought about those dreams a lot. You left right when everything was starting to change. She inhaled deeply, as if breaking through a barrier. And I found out some things while you were gone, things I should have told you then. His heart pounded, the air charged with unspoken emotions. What sort of things? Your dad, he's not who you think he is. He had a life before yours. And, Jack, those choices, they set off a chain of events that still resonate today. And you have a brother. At her words, Jack's mind spun. A brother? The thought crashed into him, displacing everything he believed about his family. Wait, what? A brother? It felt surreal. A wave of confusion, disbelief, and overwhelming curiosity washed over him. Yes, your father had another family. Emma's voice was steady, but he could see the pain lurking behind her words. I found out a few months ago. I didn't know how to tell you. I didn't want to destroy your memories of him. But I couldn't keep it from you any longer. Jack's chest tightened. All those years growing up, feeling the absence of something, a lone truth that never sat right with him, it all began to make a new kind of sense. The fleeting shadows of their childhood now morphed into fragments of a much larger puzzle. What does he want from me? He desperately asked, feeling a swell of apprehension rise from his gut. I don't think it's that simple, Emma said carefully. He doesn't know, he hasn't reached out. I only found out through old documents and records. But he needs to know you exist. Jack's mind raced with possibilities. Their father, the one he thought he understood, was shrouded in secrets that could change everything. He had so many questions, but no answers were within reach. I didn't want to choose this for you, Jack. I wanted you to discover it when you were ready, Emma said, reaching for his hand across the table. It was a small gesture, but it felt grounding. What do I do now? Jack sighed, feeling lost between the hope of something new and the weight of betrayal. Maybe you should find him, Emma suggested gently. If you feel that's what you want. The walls of the cafe swirled around him, the sounds of distant laughter fading to silence. The stakes felt impossibly high, a leap into the unknown. Would discovering this brother push him further from where he thought he belonged? Would it fracture the fragile world he had built again? I don't know if I'm ready for that, he admitted, gripping the table as if it could anchor him to the moment. What if I find out everything I knew was a lie? Or maybe it could be the truth you never knew you needed, Emma countered softly. Her expression was supportive, full of belief that he could find strength in this journey. Jack swallowed hard. There was an uncertainty in the air, a possible unveiling of his past that hung just out of reach. A desire began to awaken within him, not just to understand the pieces of his family, but also who he could become as a person. But the feeling of the unknown loomed large. What if confronting this truth only brought hurt? What if opening this door left him irrevocably changed? He needed to think. Can I have some time? He finally asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Of course, Emma replied, relieved relief flooding her features. "You take all the time you need. I'm here for you, Jack." As he sat there, thousands of what-ifs raced through his mind, each one more daunting than the last. Could he really tackle this mess? Could he bridge the gap between his past and an uncertain future? The cafe's atmosphere buzzed around him again as Emma watched thoughtfully. Yet the last of her words lingered like the tones of his guitar, full of possibility, hesitance, and the thrill of exploration. And at that moment, everything could change. His phone buzzed again, an incoming message casting another layer of uncertainty. He stared at the screen, an unknown number. Jack took a deep breath. He clicked open the message. "Jack, I found you. We need to talk." His heart raced. What awaited him on the other side of this conversation? Would it lead him closer to the truth or further into turmoil? As questions swirled, a singular thought remained. A path toward an unexpected destiny was unfolding right before him. And yet, the winding road of his future felt as precarious as a note hanging in the balance. Jack's fingers trembled over the phone screen, his mind racing with a storm of thoughts. Who is this person? Did they really have something to share, or was this just a cruel joke, preying on his need for connection? "Jack?" Emma's gentle voice cut through his thoughts. She reached for his arm, her touch steady, bringing him back from the edge of his swirling fears. "What does it say?" "It's from a number I don't recognize," he said, struggling to make his voice sound casual. "They want to talk." "I'm not sure if I should respond." "You have to," Emma urged, her eyes bright with encouragement. "This could be the answer to everything you've been wondering about. It could lead to your brother, or at least some clarity." With a deep breath, he nodded. As if guided by an unseen force, he began to type a reply, his heart pounding against his ribcage. "Who is this?" he typed, the weight of uncertainty pressing down hard on him. Within seconds, the response came through. "It's Nathan. Your brother." Jack's breath caught in his throat. Nathan. The name echoed through his mind like a forgotten melody. How could this be real? He turned the name over in his head. There had been whispers of secrets in their family, and now here was a validation of it all, staring him in the face. "I can't believe it," he whispered, half to himself. Emma squeezed his arm, sensing his upheaval. "What do you want to do?" she asked softly, her eyes locked on his, searching for an answer. Jack's mouth felt dry. Even now, faced with this revelation, he felt scared to dive into what could feel like the abyss. "I don't know, just take it one step at a time," she encouraged. "You don't have to decide everything in one go." Finally, the impulse to know won over his fear. He typed again with unsteady fingers. "When and where?" There was a pause before Nathan replied. "How about tonight? 7 p.m. at the park near your old house." "I'll be there." Jack's heart raced. Tonight. It felt impossibly sudden and yet somehow destined. The prospect of seeing a brother he'd never known loomed closer than ever, yet it seemed filled with the weight of countless questions. "Jack?" Emma's voice was soft again. "What do you think? Are you ready for this?" He looked up at her, the weight of her kindness sweeping over him like a comforting wave. "I don't know what I'm ready for," he admitted, feeling vulnerable. "But I feel like I have to try. What if this changes everything?" She nodded seriously, as if understanding the gravity of the moment. "Then just remember, whatever happens, you're not alone. You have me." Jack offered a small smile, gratefulness pouring through him. "I really appreciate that, Emma." The clock on the wall seemed to tick louder, counting down the hours until he'd be standing before Nathan. What would his brother look like? Would they look alike? Would he feel like he belonged? The ride back home was a blur, each passing street holding memories soaked in nostalgia and a sense of impending change. Jack replayed the many what-ifs in his mind, each one fighting for dominance in his thoughts. He wondered how this meeting would unfold, how he would take the first step into this new chapter of his life. As he stepped into his room, the familiar surroundings felt both comforting and alien at once. Suddenly, the soft strum of his guitar called out to him. He picked it up, letting the vibrations resonate through his fingers, grounding him in the present moment. But as he played, the music brought forth emotions that felt too big to contain, the unknown swelling in his chest. Would they discuss their father? Would Nathan even want a relationship, or was this just a fleeting collaboration in their shared history? Lost in the melody, Jack's guitar became a bridge connecting his past and the vibrant possibilities of his future. The notes bled into one another like colors on a canvas, each bringing forth a swirl of hope and fear as twilight began to settle in. With a final, resonant chord, he stopped and took a deep breath. It was time. Jack glanced at the clock, the hour drawing near. He could only pray that the evening would bring clarity instead of confusion. What awaited him at the park? Would he find a bond stronger than blood, or would it crush under the weight of unspoken truths? As he stepped outside, the cool air wrapped around him. He walked purposefully toward the park, ready to face whatever revelations lurked in the shadow of this unexpected meeting. It was a leap into uncertainty, yet one that promised a deeper understanding of who he was meant to be. And as the park came into view, he wondered, could this be the start of something more than just tangled family secrets? The park appeared alive with colors as dusk settled in, the sky painted in shades of pink and gold. Jack could feel a flutter of anticipation in his chest, mingled with the nerves that had been building since the moment he read Nathan's message. With each step, the ground beneath him felt both familiar and strange, the kind of place where childhood memories danced just out of reach. As he entered the park, the sound of laughter and distant music drifted through the air. Children played on swings, a couple strolled hand in hand, but Jack's eyes were peeled for one face, his brother's. The anxiety may have twisted in his gut, but so did an inexplicable hope. It felt more than just a meeting, it was a reckoning. When he reached the spot near the old oak tree, he hesitated. The thought of Nathan lurking just behind the trunk filled him with a mix of excitement and dread. Would they even recognize each other? Would Nathan be anything like the boy Jack had imagined growing up? Taking a deep breath, he scanned the area. Then, he saw him, a tall figure with dark hair, slightly disheveled, wearing an old band t-shirt. He looked like he belonged in the park yet was an outsider all at once. Jack's heart thudded. This was it. They could see each other, and in that split second, everything shifted. Jack's feet seemed glued to the ground, his mind racing with all he wanted to say. But before he could muster the courage, Nathan caught his eye and approached, an unreadable expression on his face. Jack? Nathan's voice was cautious, as though testing the waters of an entirely new ocean. Yeah, it's me. Jack managed to gulp out, keeping his tone steady, even as his pulse escalated. He didn't want to show how very much this meant to him. Nathan stared for a moment, assessing. Then a small smile broke the tension, and Jack felt a warmth wash over him. I never thought I'd actually get to meet you. Me neither, Jack replied, the words slipping out before he could think. The utter reality of the moment hung heavily between them, filling the space with unspoken questions. An awkward silence ensued, the kind that felt almost electric. They stood there, two strangers bound by blood but separated by years. Finally, Nathan gestured to a nearby bench. Do you want to sit? I've got a lot to say. Me too, Jack interrupted, his nerves easing slightly. The urgency made him feel alive. Whatever they'd endured, they'd have to face it together now. As they settled onto the bench, Jack's mind flitted back to the past, the secrets, the questions, the longing for connection. Could this be the moment to finally unpack everything? Both of them exchanged glances, the weight of their histories pressing down like a storm cloud ready to burst. So, where do you want to start? Nathan asked, his voice steady but his hands fidgeting. Before Jack could answer, an unexpected sound broke through, a song played on a nearby guitar, its notes drifting toward them, echoing emotions Jack felt deep within. Every chord felt like a heartbeat, a reminder of their shared history. Do you know that song? Nathan's brows knitted together as he listened. I've heard it before, Jack said, thoughts spinning. It's one of my favorites. Really? I used to play that. Nathan's eyes showed a flicker of something fragile, sharing a passion, a connection in more than blood. Jack felt his heart leap. Maybe we could play together sometime? Jack suggested, a warmth spreading at the thought. The look in Nathan's eyes shifted, and for the first time, he smiled genuinely. I would like that a lot. And, just like that, something shifted in the air. Surrounded by the sounds of the park, they seemed to melt into their own world of music, memories, and potential. Yet, beneath the surface, deeper questions lingered. "Jack, there's something I need to tell you," Nathan began, his voice dropping to a serious tone. Jack felt the weight of those words, like an anchor tethering him to reality. Whatever Nathan was about to reveal, he knew that it could change everything. What truth lay beneath Nathan's confession? Would it bring them closer together or pull them apart? Nathan took a deep breath, visibly gathering courage. Jack sat on the edge of his seat, all the wild twists of fate spiraling around them. The world faded, leaving only the two of them and the momentary silence. "Jack, ever since I found out about you, I've wanted to say how sorry I am," Nathan said. "Sorry for everything you've been through without me. I can't imagine how confusing all of this must feel." Jack swallowed hard, emotions crashing like waves against his shore of understanding. "I never thought I had a brother. It's hard to process," he admitted. "Why didn't anyone tell me sooner?" Nathan nodded, a touch of pain reflected in his dark eyes. "I think your dad didn't know how to bring it up. He has had his own battles, you know? But I think about you all the time, the questions you must have, the pieces of family that are missing." The truth hammered against Jack's heart, echoing with a profound ache. He listened intently, piecing together the fragments of a family he never knew he needed. "What is your story about our father? How did you find out?" "I overheard my mom talking about it. She always wanted me to know," Nathan confessed. "She felt it wasn't right to keep it hidden. It was a struggle to connect Jack, to be someone he might not even acknowledge." A chill raced down Jack's spine. "And you knew and you didn't say anything?" "I didn't even know how to find you. I was scared, okay?" Nathan's voice sharpened with emotion. "I imagined I'd have to show up one day and just say, 'Hey, you're my brother.' But it felt overwhelming. And the last thing I wanted was to disrupt your life." Jack felt a swell of empathy. "Believe me, it has been disrupted. But you're right, I can't ignore the past anymore. If there's something there waiting for me to understand, then I want to dig deeper. Together." A silence ensued, heavy with the weight of unsaid words and unshared history. Nathan sighed. "I was terrified you wouldn't want to meet me." The fear of rejection is powerful. For a moment, Jack considered how fear had often dictated his life. "But we can't let that fear separate us again, Nathan. I don't want to hide. I don't want to lose the chance to know you." The flicker of understanding sparked between them. Together, they could plunge into the depths of their shared experiences, even if it meant unraveling painful truths about their past, and finally understanding the man who had once been the only connection they shared. "I want to know about your childhood. About our father." "Everything," Jack pressed gently. "How do we even begin?" Nathan leaned back against the bench, the weight they carried lightening slightly. "Well, I think it starts with the truth. I've never had a heart-to-heart about this, so to speak." He hesitated, wrestling with memories mingled with pain. "Jack, I grew up with my mother living in the shadow of your dad's legacy. He played a big role in my life too, though I never knew him as you did. He was a musician, just like you," Nathan began, his voice steady but warm. "That's why I started playing guitar. I wanted to honor him even when I didn't understand who he was." Jack felt a chord resonate in his heart, the music of their shared lineage enveloping them. It's almost like he left pieces of himself everywhere, and now that we're here, we get to find those pieces together. "Yes, exactly," Nathan exclaimed, relief flooding his features. "And that's why I'm so grateful to finally speak with you. I want to resolve the unanswered questions we both have. You deserve to know." Picturing their future, Jack felt something bloom inside, a budding sense of belonging and understanding. They could explore the power of brotherhood, the connection forged through shared experience and music. With a peaceful calm settling over them, Jack looked to Nathan. "There's still so much left to uncover. But I don't want to rush. I want to do this right. Can we exchange stories, share songs, and act as each other's strength through this?" Nathan nodded, a smile blossoming on his face, an echo of Jack's own. "That sounds perfect. We can meet again, keep this going until we uncover every layer." Jack felt the weight lift as hope flooded his heart. Two brothers, connected yet distinct, were beginning a journey together. They might have stumbled into this reunion with questions and burdens, but they were ready to embrace the ties of family anew. As twilight deepened around them and the laughter of the park filled the air, Jack whispered, "Together, we'll figure this out. We'll find our way." With that promise hanging in the air like the lingering notes of a beautiful chord, the two of them began to forge an unbreakable bond, one rooted in vulnerability, discovery, and the dream of making music together. The night held the promise of transformation, the start of a new chapter unfolding, inviting them to step into the light of who they were meant to be: brothers, storytellers, and musicians ready to reclaim the melodies of their lives. And as they both turned to leave that night, they took the first steps toward a harmony that had long been obscured, yet now stood waiting for them on the horizon of tomorrow. Now it's your turn. You need to subscribe now to the channel if you don't want to miss out on the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep the magic alive. We want to hear your reactions. Comment your feelings about this incredible transformation and the journey of Jack and Nathan. And finally, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this story of realization and connection unfold. Don't wait not even one more second to show your support. Only true fans understand the importance of being part of this transformative community.